Welcome back to our channel, your premier destination for the deepest dives into the dramatic lives of Genoa City's most fascinating residents. Today is a brilliant day to unpack the explosive tensions brewing just beneath the surface of our favorite city. We are thrilled to have you with us as we explore the intricate web of romance, trauma, and ambition that is about to unravel in spectacular fashion. The highly anticipated week of June 8th through the 12th marks a monumental milestone for Newman Newman as he prepares for the grand opening of the Shadow Room in Genoa City. This new venture is far more than just a business endeavor for the young Newman heir. It represents a desperate bid for independence, a sanctuary built away from the towering, often suffocating legacies of his father, Nick, and his grandfather, Victor. Noah has poured every ounce of his creative soul and financial resources into transforming this space into a vibrant, pulsating heart of the city's nightlife, hoping to establish a legacy that is entirely his own. However, the glittering facade of the club's neon lights masks a profound psychological struggle for his partner, Sienna Bacall. For Sienna, the very concept of the Shadow Room is inextricably linked to the darkest chapters of her existence. The club's atmosphere serves as a visceral, terrifying reminder of her traumatic past in Los Angeles, a time dominated by the sinister influence of Matt Clark and the devastating loss of her brother to the criminal underworld. Every thumping bass line and shadow corner threatens to trigger a cascade of agonizing memories, pulling her back into a life she has fought desperately to escape. Despite the overwhelming sensory overload and the constant threat of panic attacks, Sienna is making a monumental, agonizing effort to plaster on a supportive smile, determined to adapt to this environment out of sheer, unadulterated love for Noah and his vision. Noah, driven by his passionate optimism and a somewhat naive belief in the power of fresh starts, remains painfully oblivious to the depth of Sienna's internal torment. He views the Shadow Room as a beacon of their shared future, a physical manifestation of their survival and triumph over the chaos that previously threatened to consume them. In his mind, the ghosts of Los Angeles have been vanquished, and the complicated history he shares with others, particularly his tumultuous romance with Audra Charles in London, is nothing more than a closed book. Noah's desire to maintain a peaceful, sophisticated existence blinds him to the lingering resentments and the predatory intentions that are actively circling his newly constructed sanctuary, setting the stage for a catastrophic collision of past and present. The arrival of Audra Charles at the grand opening event shatters any illusion of a peaceful celebration. Audra does not enter the Shadow Room as a mere patron or a supportive former flame. She arrives with the calculated, predatory grace of a woman intent on reclaiming what she believes is rightfully hers. Despite the bitter end to their relationship in London, Audra finds herself increasingly, almost dangerously, obsessed with Noah. She views his current happiness with Sienna not as a permanent reality, but as a temporary, fragile arrangement that she can easily dismantle. Audra's ambition extends far beyond the corporate boardrooms of Genoa City. She desires to re-establish her dominance over Noah's heart, utilizing their shared history and her undeniable magnetism as weapons in a silent, psychological war. As the opening week progresses, the atmosphere within the Shadow Room transforms into a suffocating pressure cooker of unspoken animosity. The celebratory clanking of champagne glasses and the rhythmic pulse of the dance floor stand in stark, jarring contrast to the toxic energy radiating between the key players. Audra masterfully manipulates the environment, positioning herself in Noah's immediate orbit at every opportunity, her actions dripping with a calculated familiarity designed to undermine Sienna's confidence. The club itself, with its intimate alcoves and flashing lights, becomes a character in this unfolding drama, amplifying the emotional stakes and providing the perfect, shadowy backdrop for Audra's relentless, covert campaign of seduction and sabotage. Noah's fatal flaw in this escalating crisis is his unwavering, misguided belief that he and Audra have successfully transitioned into a platonic friendship. He welcomes her presence with genuine warmth, interpreting her lingering touches and prolonged eye contact as harmless remnants of their past rather than the calculated advances of a woman obsessed. This dangerous naivety prevents him from recognizing the devastating psychological toll Audra's behavior is taking on Sienna. Noah's inability to establish firm boundaries inadvertently validates Audra's aggressive tactics, leaving Sienna feeling isolated, unprotected, and increasingly desperate in an environment that already feels like a hostile, triggering battleground. The simmering tensions finally reach an absolute, explosive boiling point on the evening of June 10th. Sienna's fragile emotional state, already battered to the point of breaking by the relentless ghosts of her Los Angeles trauma, completely fractures under the weight of Audra's escalating audacity. From the shadows of the club, Sienna is forced to watch as Audra shamelessly flirts with Noah, crossing every invisible line of respect and decency. The visceral, agonizing sting of jealousy merges with Sienna's deeply ingrained survival instincts, igniting a fierce, territorial rage. She realizes that her passive attempts to endure the situation are failing, and that she must take definitive action to protect her relationship and her sanity from Audra's toxic infiltration. The ensuing confrontation between the two women is a masterclass in psychological warfare, devoid of physical violence but dripping with lethal intent. Sienna steps out of the shadows and directly into Audra's path, her body language radiating a desperate, uncompromising hostility. She makes her position abundantly clear, delivering a stern, unequivocal warning for Audra to back off and respect the boundaries of her relationship with Noah. This clash highlights the stark contrast between the two women, Sienna's raw, unpolished desperation born from a life of trauma and survival pitted against Audra's refined, condescending corporate ruthlessness and unyielding entitlement. Refusing to be intimidated, Audra meets Sienna's hostility with a mocking, impenetrable defiance. Rather than retreating, Audra doubles down on her aggressive posturing, utilizing her sharp intellect to belittle Sienna's insecurities and assert her own enduring connection to Noah. In a desperate bid to regain control of her sanctuary, Sienna threatens to utilize her authority as Noah's partner to have Audra physically removed from the premises. This threat of expulsion only serves to escalate the conflict further, drawing the attention of the surrounding patrons and transforming a private, simmering feud into a highly volatile, public spectacle that threatens to derail the entire grand opening celebration. Just as the confrontation teeters on the edge of a disastrous public meltdown, Holden, Novak, and Sally Spectre recognize the critical danger unfolding before them. Both Holden and Sally carry their own heavy burdens of trauma and public scrutiny, endowing them with a heightened sensitivity to the subtle shifts in atmospheric tension. They understand the catastrophic damage a public brawl would inflict on Noah's burgeoning business and his fragile personal life. Driven by a shared sense of empathy and a desire to prevent a complete disaster, Holden and Sally swiftly maneuver through the crowded club, their synchronized intervention acting as a desperate firewall against the spreading flames of Sienna and Audra's mutual hatred. The intervention executed by Holden and Sally is a delicate, high-stakes diplomatic maneuver. They insert themselves directly into the line of fire, utilizing their combined emotional intelligence to physically and psychologically separate the warring factions. Sally uses her own experiences of being an outsider to gently but firmly guide Sienna away from the precipice of losing control, while Holden utilizes his imposing presence to block Audra's line of sight and diffuse her aggressive energy. Their swift, calculated actions successfully prevent a physical altercation and manage to smother the immediate sparks, but they are acutely aware that the underlying, radioactive hostility remains dangerously unresolved, merely pushed back into the shadows. The immediate aftermath of the near catastrophe leaves the celebratory illusion of the shadow room irreparably shattered. The vibrant energy of the party dissipates, replaced by a heavy, uncomfortable anxiety that settles over the remaining guests. Noah is finally forced to open his eyes to the devastating reality of the situation, the blissful ignorance he had clung to violently ripped away. The realization washes over him that his dream project has been tainted by the very drama he sought to escape, and that the sanctuary he built for himself and Sienna has been breached by the toxic remnants of his past and the unhealed wounds of her trauma. As dedicated observers of this unfolding tragedy, we cannot help but feel a profound, aching sense of heartbreak for Noah's shattered dreams and the loss of his innocent optimism. We find ourselves deeply, viscerally empathetic towards Sienna's agonizing struggle, watching her battle the suffocating demons of her past while desperately trying to hold on to her future is nothing short of devastating. Simultaneously, we feel a surging, undeniable frustration at Audra's calculated, relentless manipulation, her complete disregard for the emotional wreckage she leaves in her wake. It is agonizing to witness a beautiful, hopeful endeavor be so systematically dismantled by toxic obsessions, unchecked jealousy, and the heavy, inescapable chains of unhealed trauma. The grand opening of the Shadow Room may be drawing to a close, but the brutal war for Noah Newman's heart and future has only just ignited. With battle lines firmly drawn, insecurities exposed, and resentments burning far brighter than the club's neon lights, the ultimate question remains unanswered. Who will survive the impending, inevitable emotional fallout, and will this ambitious new venture stand as a triumphant monument to enduring love? Or will it crumble into a tragic graveyard for broken hearts and shattered illusions?